Hi, I'm Irina Litvin and I live here in beautiful Sedona. Originally I'm from Russia. Me and my husband, we met back in Russia and we came here to the States almost 18 years ago, and it's been quite an interesting journey. So yeah, both me and my husband, we have been on our spiritual path for a while. I had my first powerful spiritual awakening experience when I was 13, and it started with reading a spiritual esoteric book back in Russia that totally switched my perspective and resonated with something very deep in my heart. And it was basically about our thoughts having consequences, how our thoughts create our reality. And this is when I started thinking, oh my gosh, like thoughts have power, and it's not just something that comes into your head and goes, it affects your reality. Later on, I met my husband, I manifested my soulmate, and both me and I, we realized that we were indigos. We started reading more books about it, and we continued our path of studying different books and going to different trainings, even back then, back in Russia. And it was always so fulfilling. And I remember living in New York when we were thinking about starting a family. I came across some of those books of Doreen Virtue, raising an indigo child, about all the crystal children, and I just felt, wow, this is so awesome. And I was just reflecting on my own childhood and how I saw the world around me, how I was different. I was like the black sheep compared, like that's how I felt compared to my classmates. And it just connected a lot of dots for me, just reading those books. And I think this is when the seed was planted for thinking about parenting from like a totally different perspective. And then we were guided to leave New York in 2010, and we came to Sedona. And here, shortly after that, we started One Tribe tours. We were guided to do tours on the land, helping people reconnect to themselves on a deeper level and also connect to the land on a deeper level. And that way we notice for ourselves that it releases a lot of stress. It calms down all the noise that we accumulate from living busy lifestyles. And then when our daughter was born in 2013, it was like a new chapter of discovering ourselves. Before, I thought I knew something about conscious parenting. I thought really I would give advice right and left to some of my friends who had kids, like how to be a conscious parent, how just you can explain everything to a kid and talk to them like they're adults. But when I had my daughter, I realized that, oh my gosh, I had very little idea about what it actually is in action. I thought I would never do certain things that my parents did to me or that their parents did to them. Just start reflecting on the events that happened in their lives and the patterns that ran in our family line. And I realized, oh my gosh, I'm thinking about doing something that is not conscious at all, something that is I thought I would never do, and I'm thinking about it, and I remember I got so upset just about thinking this thing. It felt like almost like a failure. Like, how could this happen? I meditated almost like every day. I was committed to my practice, and boom, all of a sudden my daughter pushed my buttons and I reacted. I started taking things personally, and I was sitting on the couch really upset about it, and my daughter came to me and she gave me a nice hug and she said, "Mommy, I know that we are acting this way when we're not happy ourselves, when we're disconnected basically from ourselves. I know that you're not mean, and there's not those things that you that come from, it's not that something that comes from you on a daily basis. Like, it's, you just need to take time to yourself." and she was about 4.5, and I was like, wow, it's amazing how much she understands, like at 4.5. Like these kids that come right now, they are so smart, they're so wise. A lot of them, they're old souls, they've been reincarnating many times. And this is when I realized that if we want to change our world, to make it a peaceful place, we need to change the way we parent our kids. This is how we change the world. We change how we not react when our buttons are pushed. And that is big. This is really big, like stepping aside, because when you choose not to react, you're making the choice to break this vicious cycle, because we always have a choice of perpetuating the pain of our ancestors, passing on these patterns from one generation to another, to another, to another. And that's a result that we have this crazy society, chaos in our society. People are disconnected from themselves, the way we treat each other, take things for granted. I think a lot of things stem from it, from making unconscious choices, because it's very easy to fall into this path of reacting and just continuing the pain of your parents and passing it on to your children. Because one thing is knowing that you don't want to do certain things, knowing that you want to be conscious, but I believe that this is the true spiritual realization, the practice, when you apply your spiritual knowledge in practice. And for me, my daughter showed me so much about myself. I had this much idea about conscious parenting. Those kids are born to be leaders, and I believe it's very important to keep them away from the programming of the old paradigm. So that's the reason why we don't show her cartoons. We keep her away from media. Like, she has no idea what Disney is, because I believe that's old paradigm programming. And it's just good guys and bad guys, and if you want to be loved and respected in your life, then you have to be a princess. To be happy, and we teach her that to be happy is your choice. Is how you choose to feel in this present moment. It's not external things that make you happy. It is something that comes from within yourself. And that's why when she's fussy, we take her out in nature, here in vortex sites in Sedona, and we let her play with the rocks and sticks. So she connects with Mama Earth, and she reconnects with herself, and then she tells me, Mama, I feel so relaxed. I feel so peaceful. I really feel this energy. And it's just like a balm to my soul, you know? Like, I'm so happy how she can easily unwind and release that stress. And we also help her understand how it is her natural state of being, this relaxed state. And as an empath, she absorbs a lot of energy from other people and confuses often for her own. So being in nature helps you to unwind, unload all that baggage, all people's energy, and just be. This is the most important moment. You know, it's very easy for kids to be, to want to go somewhere, to dream about the future, and become preoccupied with future events like Christmas. But at the same time, I tell her, this is the moment. It's precious. And because if you just think about your future, think about your past, then this moment passes and you forget. You don't appreciate it, and as a result, you can easily take things for granted that are priceless, like feeling your breath and just the beauty, seeing the beauty around you. This is the true treasure, and I believe personally that this is what should be taught in schools, how to connect to nature, how we treat each other authentically. And they just learn from example. When you just say, okay, you messed up, you say, I'm sorry. And it's okay to feel emotions. Because I believe, especially for boys in our society, it's such a big taboo to cry and express emotions. And I see that generally a lot of, like, our parents and their generation, they don't feel comfortable when kids are crying. because they had some traumatizing events in their childhood perhaps, and it makes them reconnect to their trauma, and a lot of times they're not ready to face that. So it's a standard approach to switch attention. Oh, don't cry, look, 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 there's a birdie over there. You're not supposed to cry, you're young and full of life, you're supposed to be happy all the time. So kids are distracted all the time on a regular basis. But overall, the way back to reconnecting to ourselves is again to acknowledging, yes, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to avoid maybe something uncomfortable that I'm feeling in this present moment. And just taking a breath and being, not trying to run away from it, not trying to label any kind of emotion that arises as bad one, because that can go down another rabbit hole. So being honest with yourself, being authentic, and just staying in the present moment is what gives you this grounding. And when you're grounded, you can be fully present for your kids and also taking care, remembering to take care of yourself. So yeah, just taking care of ourselves and showing up for our kids, taking good care of ourselves helps us raise this next generation of peacemakers. Yeah, I strongly believe that, and over time, as I see my daughter reflecting it gives me a lot of hope, because very often it can be, they may not understand all those concepts of metaphysical stuff, but the grains that you plant with your example, they sprout very quickly. It just connection creates the fertile soil for them to grow. And yeah, that gives me hope that we will have a peaceful generation who will be balanced. So we really need to have more leaders who are authentic, heart-centered, people who have compassion for everybody around them, who can make their decisions not from their emotions, but from this center in their heart, when they're connected, so they can have this decision, they can make these decisions that are not only good for themselves, they're good for all the people around them, they're good for Mama Earth. And that's where I believe we're going, realizing that we are one tribe of many colors. This is what also inspired us to call our company One Tribe Tours, believing that, spreading the message that we are one tribe. No matter with all these artificial divisions and borders, we're all connected, and we meet people from everywhere, and we feel like family, you know. And I think when we understand that we are truly one family, then we will start making different decisions on a global level.